Sonya B here with the Art Holistic Killer. I am back with several quick prophetic messages. So for those of you who are new to my channel who are doing the inner healer work, I want to say welcome. And for those of you returning back who are doing the inner healer work, I want to say welcome back, okay? So with that being said, I want to let you guys know that we are in some very tricky energies right now. And I've explained that to you guys before within the last message, okay? Especially when it pertains down to the divine masculine, okay? So if you're someone who are really searching for God right now, you might want to tune in to really listen to this message, okay? So I say all that to say that, as I said before, there are very tricky energies that we're dealing with right now. People are really confusing dream states and visions and information that they're receiving. You have to be mindful right now, because right now it's almost like there's trickster type energy out there, okay? There's deception type energy out there, okay? And if you're not careful, you can find yourself being misled and misguided in a situation, okay? And I want to say this first and foremost. I know, first of all, I don't have a lot of followers, so therefore people probably think that what I am saying is probably doesn't have any importance at all, but it actually has a lot of importance, okay? This is number one where people get deceived, that they think just because people have a lot of different followers that it's almost like they exactly let's just say that they're knowledgeable what they're talking about. Yeah, they could be knowledgeable of the world way of doing things in a sense, but doesn't necessarily means that it's authentic. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's coming from the Most High. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is meant to help you on your divine path, because remember I said before that all information is not good information. I know sometimes people think that because of the information that I give out, in a sense, it's raw, it's real, it's authentic. So therefore, if it's kind of like they're kind of questioning, like, oh, let's just like I'm a little afraid of this. Like, I'm not used to this, in a sense. I say all that to say that that energy was meant to happen. It was meant to happen for a reason, because it's like that energy is here, and then you have those who are delivering their messages that they're delivering them. I'm not saying that everyone out there has a message of deception, but there are a lot of people out there who do, and you're just gonna have to know how to navigate. But I think a lot of people, one thing I'm noticing on this journey is there are people who are tuned into their psychic abilities, but it's almost like being deceived at the same time, in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say because there are people out there who have been doing a lot of projecting, in a sense. And if you don't really know how projecting works, look it up. The spiritual meaning of what projection is, okay? To give you a detail where people just kind of project onto you what they want you to think, believe, or see, or how to act or respond, in a sense, okay? And for some, it's a situation of, it's not necessarily so much of projecting. It could be a situation of you're an empath, so therefore if you're picking up on the energies that are around you, and that's the information that people need to be mindful of, that they need to be careful of, especially Black people, okay? And I say all that to say it doesn't just apply to Black people in just only strictly Black people, but it's mainly Black people, because there are some people of other races that God is choosing to save them, or they have a saving grace as well too, okay? But I say all that to say that it's about, what I've just heard is, it's about bloodline, okay? So anyway, so I say all that to say, let me go ahead and get into this message. But that's where you guys are going to need to really, really kind of stop and ask God, and really kind of drop down into that meditative state of who you should be listening to, who you should be, where you should be going before you actually go, in a sense, okay? And as I said, that I saw 333, okay? So anyway, you guys can look up the 333 meaning for yourself, so that way I just heard it some sort of confirmation, okay, to what it is I'm saying. So anyway, so you just needed to be mindful, because at this time there are people who are receiving information in regards to dream state. There are people who are receiving information of possibly some future events. There are people who are actually receiving information from their Akashic records, okay? Akashic records is basically things that we have been through in our past life. Every lifetime that we have lived, it's like it's been a recording record of it, okay? Just like the eyes are the window to the soul, it's like our eyes are recording every single experience that we have. So the Akashic record goes way back to each and every incarnation that we may have ever had in our lifetime, whether we were a kid, whether we was Black, white, Spanish, Middle Eastern, Indian, African, Asian, whether we were Native American, it doesn't matter. So we've been all different shapes and forms throughout different incarnations. But I say all that to say that the information that kind of comes through is like, you're going to have to be mindful of that, because I think some of you guys are misconstruing the information in regards to what's coming through. And I say all that to say that, let's just say that God could be revealing to you information from your past. You're mistaking that as information of, oh, I should be doing that right now. And that's where you're going to have to learn how to discern, in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say, you know how to discern what is the past and discern what is currently and discern what is going forward for the future events, okay? So I say all that to say, again, people get mixed up in regards to the information that they receive. They see something and they think that they're meant to act on it. Well, this Saturn retrograde energy is here because it's basically showing you information about your past. I can't say every single person's experience, but I guess this is where it kind of pays to kind of like get with somebody, how can I say, ask God to lead you and guide you to the right person who will give you the information that you possibly need to navigate you in a direction that of which you need to go, in a sense. Not you necessarily seeing the first thing, which, thank you, Spirit, what I'm hearing in mind, not necessarily you seeing the very first thing that comes to mind, or you think, oh, this is a quick fix, in a sense, because there are no quick fixes on this journey, okay? Sometimes quick fix can kind of get people into trouble and mislead them and misguide them down the wrong path, okay? So I say all that to say, just basically, just a little bit of advice, stop and ask God what it is that he would have you to do, or where it is that he would have you to go, or who it is that he would have you to receive your mentor information from, in a sense, okay? Because again, like all information isn't good information. Like for myself, classic example, like when I started this journey, it's like God was kind of telling me to stay away from gurus, in a sense, okay? Because the way I see it, as time has went on, gurus can be people who kind of basically really manipulate people in the sense of, just having mind control, or, just basically projecting onto people how they want them to feel and or do or experience life, or whatever the case may be, okay? So this is why we have to be mindful, and this is how we have to be careful, because again, that's just what I was being told to stay away from, okay? Because God knew that wasn't for my best interest at heart, okay? Because again, God knows each and every one of our hearts, okay? So anyway, I say all that to say that that's something to be mindful of, okay? Just the information that you're receiving. So if you're not really sure, you probably should just, again, you should reach out to the Most High, stop, pause for a minute in meditation, silence, quiet, and ask God where is it that he would have you to go. If he's not giving you the information for himself, where is it that you should receive this information from, or where is it that you should go, or wherever it is that he would have you to navigate towards, because there are some answers that lie in wherever it is that he leads you to, okay? So the next message I wanted you guys to be aware of as well too. I saw this, I meant to say this last time, excuse me, but I was just trying to be mindful. A lot of you black people, you're going to have to be mindful, because there are going to be some people who you're going to hear about, it's like cancer, the disease, in a sense, is going to kind of like be up a little, in a sense. And I say all that to say that black people, you're going to have to be mindful, because this is basically what I'm hearing is, this is, sometimes people can be around people who are within their immediate environment. And when you are someone who is a sensitive being or empath, sometimes you can pick up on other people's stuff. And it's important to know that, how do you get to a place of not being able to pick up on people's stuff? Well, that's what I kind of help people, assist them with on their journey or whatever, for is healing generational karma, okay? That's part of my life purpose, of the things that I'm meant to do here, in a sense, to help assist people and navigate them on their spiritual journeys, okay? And I say all that to say that, again, there are going to be situations where you're going to hear about Hispanic people, descent or whatever, and them having cancer, should I say. And I say all that to say, thank you, Spirit. What's coming to mind, because they have been very negligent, okay? Some of you guys may not want to hear this, but it is what it is. So if you're someone who are actually around these people or living around them, be mindful, because some of you guys may pick up on what they're going through, and you're thinking that this is actually your energy, and it really is not, a sense, okay? So I say all that to say that's something that you guys are going to have to keep in mind. This is not about projecting. This is just what I have been shown, what I've been told, in a sense, and what is basically to come. So again, sometimes you have to stop and even ask yourself, if you feel in a certain type of way, maybe it's not necessarily you in the sense of experiencing this, but it could be the people who are in your immediate environment who is experiencing this, but you're kind of like having spiritual antennas that it's kind of picking up what they're going through or what they're experiencing. So sometimes a person who is sensitive or someone who's an empath, they kind of take their energy on as their own energy, and it is not their energy. So I wanted to let you guys know that first and foremost. So I really hope that this video really reaches the people that needs to hear it, so that way that they are aware of this and being mindful of this, okay? Because, thank you, Spirit. What I'm also being shown as well, too, there may be some situations to where you seem like some other people, other races, kind of going through the same experience. And the way I saw this was, it's almost like these people, either they're going to find themselves trying to be around a certain group of people, so that way that they can kind of try to heal themselves in a sense, while kind of leaving you there to kind of pick up it's almost like cleaning up their mess, cleaning up like somebody else's trash is just what I heard, okay? So be mindful of that as well, too. Because I know for me on this journey, when I first started, I was saying to myself, I was like, I'm not nobody's, trash collector. I'm not here to pick up nobody's motherfucking trash, okay? Because I'm not the trash dump. I'm not the trash collector. I'm not doing that, okay? And I really had to get to a point to the point that I knew, because I saw what was happening in a sense, and it wasn't a pretty thing in a sense. But I say all that to say, I had to keep telling myself, I'm nobody's dumpster, and I'm not cleaning up anybody's shit, okay, period. So I say all that to say that that's something that you guys going to have to be mindful of, because this is why when God says to let go, let go. Ask God who it is that he would have you to be around, because the truth of the matter is, you don't know if these people are just coming around you because they know that you have a spiritual gift on the inside of you that you may not have yet discovered for yourself. And they know that you may have possibly healing abilities. So therefore, if it's almost like if you take a sponge and you squeeze it like this, put it in water, and it expands. It expands out when it absorbs all the water. So that's kind of like absorbing somebody else's negative energy in a sense. So I want you guys to be aware of that. So that way, if you find something happening or you see something kind of changing and altering, first of all, stop and pay attention to your immediate environment. And even sometimes, because these people like to sometimes try to get a little close to the individual people. So sometimes they try to move into the neighborhood. Sometimes they try to be, close within proximity, because they feel like that's the only way that they can kind of get done what they need to get done. So I guess as long as you're at bay in a sense, it makes it a little harder for them to be able to have access to you in a sense. Because another thing that I also discovered as well, too, is that sometimes people will try to move intentionally into your neighborhood in a sense, just to get close to what they see that's on the inside of you, that maybe necessarily you haven't discovered what's on the inside of yourself yet, okay? Which is a gift from God that has not been revealed, but these people can see that in a sense, and they look at it as an opportunity, okay? So I just want you guys to be aware of that, because as I said before, it's almost like these people will kind of surround themselves around people who will kind of help them to heal in a sense, okay? But I'm here to tell you, it's not your job here to heal anybody. God meant for everybody to put in the inner work, just like each and every one of us had to do to heal ourselves. For those who chose to heal themselves, and those who chose not to, that's their problem. But I say all that to say, for those of you who did chose to do the inner work, I'm letting you know it is safe to know it is not your job here to heal anybody, okay? All right? I want to let you know that first and foremost. So anyway, that's something to be mindful of as well, too. So like I said, the Saturn retrograde energies is kind of bringing that type of energy, okay? So be mindful. It's almost like God is trying to let you know that, hey, I want to cover you. Let me cover you, okay? I want to break the chains from your life, from your generational cycles, generational patterns, generational habits. I want to break the chains from your life in a sense. And it's up to you to allow him to do that, okay? He just basically wants to liberate and free your soul, okay? Anyway, so this next message that came through, this was the message of... Oh, bear with me, y'all. Oh, okay. So this is a situation, like a classic example of what I was just talking about, of just being deceived by the information that you tapping into in a sense. Because again, some of you guys could be tapping into information, but it could be information from your Akashic records. It could be information from your future prophecy, information pertaining to prophecy of things to come, or it could be situations that's pertaining to situations right now. It's just like you're gonna have to you need to learn how to decipher what's the past, which is Akashic records, what is present, and what is the future to come. What is to come in the future? Okay, excuse me. But I say all that to say that in this dream, it's almost like a divine masculine was kind of getting upset because a divine feminine was standing inside, or let's just say his divine feminine was standing in front of another man, let's just say, and let's just say her hands were on him just like this in a sense. But this was God, and what he didn't know is like God was kind of testing him in a sense, because it's almost like he became a little angry, he became a little outraged in a sense. And it's almost like on his earthly plane, maybe spiritually he was doing something like taking, let me just say how it kind of went down. Let's just say maybe like kind of getting something, taking something, and trying to tap into a situation in regards to some information that they received in regards to divine feminine, not knowing that there was a task there that God was asking her to do in a sense. And I say all that to say that, if you masculine to see your divine feminine either standing in front of somebody, just know that this is for a divine purpose, okay? Just know it's for a divine purpose. The Most High is testing you in a situation, okay? Because again, it's like there was a feminine standing there holding a man by his arms in a sense and just kind of looking up at him. This man looked like he was like, and I just saw 555 as I said that. 5 means change, okay? This man was looking up, or as the divine feminine was looking up at this man, it's almost like this man was like, what do I do? Like, I can't protect this person. But what he didn't know was he wasn't meant to protect her. It's almost like she was covering him in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say because she was covering him from the attacks, so let's just say spiritual attacks that maybe the divine masculine was sending, towards his divine feminine, that he thought that he was trying to, send her attacks in a sense that was gonna, let's just say, destroy her in some sort of way, because she was again doing, let's just say, God's work in the sense of letting, because basically what it was just like, the way I received this information was like God was having a divine feminine to cover this man, to basically let him know, hey, if you choose this path, in a sense, I have a divine feminine. This one's not your divine feminine, but I have a divine feminine that is for you in a sense, and her too is going to cover you in a sense, okay? But you got to choose the path of doing that inner healing work, okay? And this doesn't necessarily mean that a man isn't there covering a woman, because a man is like a covering for a woman as well too. But now it's also to the point that a woman is also a covering for that man as well too, okay? So as long as okay, let's just say, thank you, Spirit just said stop it right there. So I say all that to say that there's divine protection, okay? So anyway, so the next message I received was okay, so this message came through, and it was like, it's almost like spiritually, some of you guys are divine feminines, you are out there, and it's almost like you're tapping into that energy where, you are like a badass in the spiritual realm. Let me just say that. Let's say anybody fucking with your loved ones, let me just say that you're fucking them up. That's all I'm going to say, okay? That's all I'm going to say. So just know that your loved ones are under divine protection, in a sense. And the next message that I received was, this came through as if it was a divine masculine who was sitting and observing. Like, I don't know if he was trying to, I got the feeling like he was doing like what I seen like these Indian people type doing, okay? Not Native Americans, but Indian people, okay? Come from the Asian region. And I've seen them kind of doing this in a sense. And honestly, it's really a pet peeve of mine. But I say all that to say that, it's like he was staring in a sense, like an observant, staring, just staring in a sense, okay? So I'm not sure if this was, I just kind of get the feeling of, like he was just observing her in some sort of way, okay? And I say all that to say to the point of like, not only staring, standing up, but also kind of sitting down, staring in a sense. So be mindful of that as well too, okay? Just people wanting to, I don't know if I want to say, just be aware of people doing that, okay? Anyway, so the next message that I received was, some of you guys are going to find yourself getting a divorce, because it's like almost at this time, it's almost like the Most High is basically kind of say divorce, okay? That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to leave that message right there. But some people, it's almost like divorces come into mind, something about a divorce being settled on a certain date, or something about filing for a divorce. But that's happening to some people, okay? So you might hear about people divorcing people in a sense as well too. Okay, so this next message came through was, This one was very not funny, but it actually pissed me off. Okay, so I say all that to say that some of your divine masculines, divine masculines, a lot of y'all have been caught up with y'all jobs in a sense, and I say all that to say that your jobs have been. And I'm not saying that, I guess, if God would have you to be wherever it is that you at that moment, that's fine. But the truth of the matter is some of you guys have neglected, and I gave you guys this message before too, because it showed me like there was a lot of divine masculines. Let's just say like a family dynamic, whether it was in-laws or whatever the case may be. They all had the same mindset. And let's just say they kind of got together for the weekend. Let's just say if they were at like a retreat, or if they were like at a rented out a house or whatever for like a family reunion, whatever the case may be. And it's like all the males had the same mindset in a sense. And they all had the same mindset of, it was about work, 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 work. And their families were kind of being neglected in a sense, okay, even down to the kids, okay. And I say all that to say this energy is coming up yet again, and this is where God is letting you know, hey, it's a problem, because some of you guys have been too focused on work to the point that you are neglecting family, okay. Which is funny because yesterday I pulled, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, I pulled out this card, and it was I did like a little personal twin flame reading in a sense. And if you look at this card, this man has the world right here. He has the globe in one hand, which is his right hand. Interesting enough, because that's his right hand. That's the hand that we give with. And then in his left hand, he has the heart that is there, okay? So the heart is there. The heart is lit up, and the heart wants to be, recognized as, hey, I'm here too, in a sense. But the world isn't lit up, but his heart is lit up. So it's almost like the heart is trying to give him some sort of, it's like the heart is thinking spirit. It's like the heart is being activated and is trying to give you some sort of warning, like, hey, I'm here. I need you to tend to my heart space. I need you to tend to my heart space and what my heart desires. Okay. So I say all that to say, if you look at the position of where he's holding the globe and where he's holding the heart, the globe is up a little higher than where he's holding the heart. They're not evenly balanced in a sense. So that was just letting me know how the scales were just unbalanced. Okay. So I say all that to say that a lot of you guys have been on your jobs, whether it's a full-time job, whether it's a part-time job, it doesn't matter. Some of you may have even had 2 jobs at one point, and you've been released or let go, or God had asked you to let go of a job, and now you're down to possibly 1 job in a sense. But on this job, the way I saw this was, it's like it's a particular type of female energies that is at this particular job, okay, where it's almost like maybe a lot of females in a sense, okay. And I'm hearing that a lot of these females probably kind of look the same in a sense, which is funny because he funny because the way I saw this was, imagine if there was like a masculine at one point in time who was kind of like saying, hey, do you want me to change, the diaper in a sense for you in a sense. And it's almost like, well, they go change the diaper, but then it kind of like, it's like the room is being split down the middle, okay? So on this side, it's the masculine, and he's kind of tending to his partner as well as his kid. But somewhere along the line, it's almost like he started going from tending to his partner and the kids to just lacking and being manipulated and puppeteered by his job in a sense, okay? Because it's almost like the Most High had kind of allowed the divine feminine to see what has been happening, what has been holding up their process, what has been kind of holding up their union. And a lot of times it's stuff that the masculine is doing, where a lot of times the masculine is thinking that it's the women that's doing it, but it's really the men, because they're the ones that's being used in a situation. And I say all that to say, again, imagine a room being divided in a sense where you, one point in time, you was taking care of your responsibilities, and then at some point you started lacking in your responsibilities to where, let's just say that if somebody called you to do something, you was on it. You didn't have time to do this. You didn't have time to help out. You didn't have time to help her out in a sense. But then it's almost like the Most High had revealed, like, imagine if there was a curtain that was divided in 2 sides of the room. So you didn't know it was on the other side, but you knew it was his job, but you didn't know what was going on. So imagine that curtain or that veil coming down. And it's almost like the Most High had revealed to the divine feminine, and possibly have revealed this information to the divine masculine as well too. And maybe they may have perceived this information a little differently, and not necessarily knowing what was taking place in the dream, of thinking that this is how they needed to operate, when it's quite the opposite. So the way I saw this was, at first, because it's not the first time I saw this, some of these different corporations, businesses, and institutions out here, they all are run by different entities, okay? And I say different entities because it's, imagine an entity, a certain type of spirit that's just kind of there, and it's kind of running things in a sense, okay? So I say all that to say that this, hold on, y'all. Thank you. I say all that to say that this company was being run by a specific entity, and this entity came in a form of like a light skin type person, okay? Like, let's just say maybe a light skin type person. Maybe they may have had kind of like natural hair in a sense, and they just kind of wore it, whatever, naturally, or kind of how I saw it, or whatever the case may be. And I know you guys are probably like, what is she talking about? I'm just telling you, like, this came in a form of an entity, because I've seen it before where some of these other corporations, let's just say if they being run by foreign businesses, they were like foreign entities that was behind them, that was representing it as well too, okay? So, but this particular job that the divine masculine is on, especially the one that I'm referring to or whatever, it's almost like this entity was kind of just laid back, laying on a couch, laying on an armrest, just chilling in a sense. And it's almost like they were puppeteering the masculine in the sense of kind of effortlessly getting him to do whatever it is that they wanted him to do, while he was neglecting his family and neglecting his kids all at the same time. And it's almost like they was just laying there comfortably. So imagine again, if you pull that veil down and you see what's going on behind the scenes, and you see that this person is sitting and laying back comfortably while you have been over here trying to work hard, trying to sustain your household, trying to feed your kids, trying to, especially those people who may have had jobs and those who didn't have jobs, trying to find the means to, feed your kids, or, do what it is that the Most High asked you to do. If he said, don't do this, or I need you to do that, I need you to trust me on this, don't go here or don't go there, don't accept this or don't accept that from that person. Because it's almost like it was putting the divine masculine in a situation to where he just knew that, if he wasn't there, that you was going to do what it is that you needed to do and survive while he wasn't there, while he was continuing to be manipulated by this specific company, business, corporation, or whatever the case may be. And while you was putting in all the hard energy and effort at work to sustain your family and your household, while he was lacking and gave above or beyond and way too much to the job of which he was working on, while they was not only sabotaging his relationship with his spouse, but also sabotaging his relationship even with his own kids, okay? So I say all that to say, if some of you guys are on a twin flame situation, and some of you guys may have been separated, if you know who your twin is, there are people out there who know who their twin is. There are people out there who have not met their twin. There are people out there who have had encounter with their twins, but then they went into kind of separation in a sense. I'm talking about those people who possibly will be reconciling in a sense, meaning like you've already have a home, you have kids, you're probably married, maybe you haven't gotten a divorce, maybe people have gotten a divorce and maybe they may get remarried or whatever. But I say all that to say, like, this entity and this company has been keeping you from what it is that God wants you to do. That's all I can say. And they're laying back comfortably doing so while manipulating you, confusing you, and keeping you caught up with their fuckery, their bullshit is what I'm hearing, and their agendas, okay? So this is where some of you guys are going to learn how to have to be a little bit more strategic, be a little bit smarter, be a little bit ahead of the game. Because what I just heard is like on this card is represents the Empress or whatever the case may be. It talks about he's logic. So yeah, sometimes a person can be so logic to the point that it's like anything that you try to tell them that may be happening spiritually, they don't want to hear it. So therefore, if it's like, well, what the fuck can I tell you that you don't want to listen to? But then yet you want to blame me for stuff because you're not listening, of just knowing that we not only have a physical world, but we also have a spiritual world that coexists alongside of the spiritual world. So therefore, when you are doing things physically in the world, it's also something that's happening spiritually behind the scenes as well too, that you may not necessarily be aware of, okay? So anyway, but as I said before, some of you guys are being bitched. I'm going to say it for what it is. And some of you guys are being manipulated by your jobs, okay? And anyway, so let me move on. But I just wanted to give you that warning because be careful, okay? That's all I can say is be careful, because which is another message that I received as well too. This came in a form of, Yeah, because a lot of you, thank you, Spirit, because a lot of you guys have not been balanced. You've been in the world, and you've been operating in the 3D world, you know, paying your bills, living how you're supposed to live, or live because you know you need money to pay your bills or whatever the case may be, and so on and so on. But some of you guys have been neglecting your spiritual practice, is what I heard. And you have to learn how to balance the physical with the spiritual. These are just the times that we're moving in. Whereas once before, we could just operate in the straight physical world, and we didn't necessarily worry about the physical world because those times didn't exist at that moment. But these times are here now, to the point that you guys are going to have to learn how to remember to balance the physical world and balance the spiritual world as well too. Meaning you need to take time to meditate. You need to take time out. You need to give yourself a brain break. You need to remove yourself from people, you know, maybe take a spiritual bath, cleanse yourself, cleanse your energy, get in the tub and take a salt bath in a sense, and clear your energy out so that way you can hear clearly. Because when you're around people that you work with, or you're around people that was within your immediate environment, and let's just say you're tuning into, you know, your little antennas are picking up on everything that people might be saying and or doing. And whether this is you intentionally listening to what's going on, no, God wants you to pull your energy back in a sense. And I say all that to say, to learn how to pull your energy back and stop entertaining any and everything that you hear in a sense. Because sometimes, I just heard, thank you, Spirit, sometimes these people are there just as distractions. Because as long as they keep you drawing in, you know, it's almost like they can keep you off your path in a sense. And as long as they can keep you off your path, it's almost like a person cannot remember who they are. And I keep seeing the color green every time I close my eyes, and I just keep hearing God wants to cover you. He wants to cover you. Green is a representation of the heart chakra, okay? The 7 different chakras that we have within our body, that's the green one, okay? And I keep seeing the color green. And I say all that to say that God is just basically trying to say he wants to cover you, but he can't cover you when you keep doing the same old bullshit over and over and over again, in a sense, when he keeps trying to get your attention. Sometimes you do a little bit here. Sometimes you go right back to doing what you're doing. Sometimes you do a little bit here. I'm hearing that you're not trusting yourself, okay? Yeah, I'm hearing this, you're not trusting yourself. So remember, you have to balance with this physical world, so that way that you don't get deceived, manipulated, and you're not being puppeteered in a sense. It's very important to you to make sure you have time for yourself. Clean your energy from around everybody else. Sometimes you got to keep people at a bay, keep them at a bay in a sense, so you can know what's yours and what's not yours, especially when you start to move a little differently, act a little different, and so on and so. You want to know what's yours, okay? Anyway, so this next message, hence to say, kind of goes back to the whole entity. It's almost like I saw like the divine feminine and divine masculine on a spiritual plane. It's almost like they're kind of connecting, getting to know each other, like starting from scratch is what I just heard. Thank you, Spirit. Starting from scratch. So if you imagine if you just met somebody, you're sitting there talking, and let's just say maybe if those of you who are reconciling is not the situation that your divine masculine might have came in before, where he was, you know, coming in all overly confident, being a little cocky, and in his ego and arrogance was there, and you saw right through that bullshit. In a sense, this time it was more so of coming in from a different mindset of just kind of, I just heard the word being humble in a sense, okay? Being humble. So it's almost like he was trying to get in to know his feminine on a spiritual level in a sense, okay? But the funny thing about it was, it's almost like sitting outside, sitting on the stairs of, let's just say a building in a sense, and it's almost like you move because you hear this noise. It sounds like somebody's sweeping or whatever the case may be, and you move because you think it energetically, like, let me move because I don't want them, you know, be sweeping trash down here, not knowing that we're sitting down here. So you move over to like another building in a sense that's right, you know, right next to the other building, kind of shaped just like this. So you move over to this building in a sense, and basically what happens is like, then all of a sudden when you move, all of these people I noticed started skating. They was just skating very fast, okay? And I know before when I saw like the skates in a dream, it's almost like God had revealed to me like the skates were kind of falling apart. The wheels were coming off. The skate was tearing. It was letting me know something in a person's life was being broken down. So whether this is a situation that it's voluntary or whether involuntary of movement that one is doing, it either they're doing it or it's God doing it in a sense. But it's basically a lot of people are starting to feel like out of balance because things are speeding up, is kind of what I heard in a sense, okay? So that's something to be mindful of as well too, okay? So because like energy is, yeah, so it's either the situation God is speeding up the energy in a sense, or it's a situation of, you know, people are trying to keep up with the flow of the energy, okay? Anyway, so okay, so for some of you guys, it's a situation of, it's like the Most High have basically probably asked you guys, how can I say it? You're supposed to be kind of following your divine feminine in a sense of kind of doing things how she was doing in a sense. But I say all that to say, some of you guys it seem like you've been trying to kind of do that, but you've been kind of incorporating your own things into the equation, meaning like you're doing stuff that maybe she wouldn't necessarily do, and that doesn't make you doing what she's doing in a sense. So therefore, that's not kind of being on one accord, okay? So anyway, and I received a message too as well. I received this morning. It was basically saying that when you release something, you will then gain something else in place of it, okay? So some of you need to hear that. But if there's something that you need to let go of, that God is asking you to let go of, and for everybody it could be something different. For some it could be a relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be, you know, release a location or where you're staying at. It could be a situation of release a marriage, because I said before, like, you know, some people were being asked to get a divorce or whatever the case may be, or file for a divorce. And it's a situation that some people could be, you know, asked to move out of, whether it be an apartment or a house, or, you know, whatever the case may be, in order to move locations. It could be a situation of, let's just say that maybe it's pertaining to a job. You know, it could be pertaining to a lot of different things, you know. Thank you, Spirit. I just also heard too, it could be released the mindset of how money, for some of you who have driven by money in a sense, it could be a mindset of releasing that mindset of worrying about where money comes from in a sense, okay? And I know that some of you are like, well, how the fuck are you supposed to live in this world? Truth be told is, you know, this is almost like where, how can I say it? This is almost like where faith without works is dead, okay? But let's move on. So the next message came through, and as I said before, there are a lot of you divine feminines that are basically cutting the snake's head off at the top, and you're done with it for once and for all. It's like you literally are basically cutting that shit off in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say, you know, it's almost like, imagine if somebody kind of came into your house spiritually, or imagine somebody kind of came into your house, if a person came into your house physically in a sense, and it's like, you're going to do what? You're not going to just sit there and allow somebody to just kind of like, you know, take you out in your own house. You're going to go through every means necessary to protect yourself in a sense. So the way I saw this was, let's just say whatever it was that was kind of trying to hold you back, trying to keep you down, that was basically trying to keep you bound, is what I heard. It's almost like you're addressing it for once and for all, okay? You have addressed it for once and for all, okay? And then with you doing that, it's almost like something disturbs something within your masculine by doing that, because basically the way I saw this was, it's almost like a masculine energy had basically became a little restless after you had basically decapitated the snake, which let's just say the snake was the enemy. If you think about Adam and Eve and the snake came to deceive. So let's just say that, let's just say that the snake had came to deceive, and you basically, like I said, cut the head off at the neck, and you was done with it for once and for all. And let's just say maybe you might have threw the body over there and the head over there, whatever the case may be. Like, I'm tired of this. I'm done. Like, decapitating the snake's head. Okay, so I say all that to say that made your masculine kind of restless in a sense, but it wasn't really a snake. This was actually a person. Okay, this is like the person is almost, we're going back to like entities in a sense, okay? But, you know, we got demon entities. That's the way I kind of saw it. Somebody has been basically trying to be a stumbling block to you, keep you off your path, or somebody who is meant to try to keep you bound, keep you small, keep you short, keep you, you know, from succeeding wherever it is that God wanted you to succeed, so that way that you can reclaim back what belongs to you, which is your birthright, okay? And I say all that to say the masculine, I saw that the masculine kind of became a little restless. So masculines, be mindful, because some of you guys, give me 1 second. Some of you guys will find yourself, you don't want to keep resorting back to your old patterns, your old habits, and your old behavior to something that's comfortable and familiar for you. Because the way I saw this was somebody becoming restless. So what do? They started resorting back to, I'm just saying how I saw it in the dream, started resorting back to eating like Chinese food. And as a guy, if you guys watch my TikTok videos, as I told you before, that, you know, when I did on the all different races or whatever, that it seemed like Asian people had comfort foods, you know, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it's almost like they were puppeteering the masculine energies as well to continue to have them to project onto the female their nastiness in a sense. So it's almost like how the Asian people felt about, not saying all, but I'm going to say majority, okay? Because it's almost like these people went into hiding once the truth was being revealed, okay? Like, oh my God, like they know what we're doing now, in a sense, like people gonna know what we're doing. So I say all that to say it's almost like this truth was being revealed, but they was using the masculine because they knew that the masculine already had an issue with the feminine. So with them projecting onto the masculine, which causes him to then feel a certain type of way towards his, you know, his family, his kids, or whatever the case may be, especially those who, I'm just going to say it for what it is, especially those who were brown color in skin, okay? And I just saw notifications. It's just letting me know. So therefore, because they wasn't happy with who they were in a sense, so therefore, if a lot of people was sitting up there, a lot of masculines would entertain peoples outside of their own races, or entertain people who were more light color, fair in skin, because they felt anything that was associated to dark in a sense as if it was a struggle. And it actually was not, because the truth be told, the actual blessing was there with her all along in a sense. And a lot of masculines going to start to realize that in a sense, where they thought the energy was with other women in a sense, okay? But sometimes God will turn you over to your enemies in a sense of that of which you are desiring, so that way that you can see that that wasn't necessarily good for you. And what's coming to mind, thank you, Spirit, what's coming to mind is what's his name, Samson and Delilah. You know, he kept wanting these foreign women in a sense, and God had already told his parents, because his parents was following God's upbringing and, you know, his principles, morals, and all that other stuff, but he didn't want to listen. So therefore she deceived him, cut off his locks, made him weak, and then therefore, you know, basically kind of destroyed him and took what was his strength away from him and to use it against him. And that's what a lot of you masculines have been dealing with, okay? And I say all that to say, so be mindful to not to keep resorting back to your old habits of what makes you feel comfortable and what seems familiar to you. Because, you know, these people, trust me, they have been very strategic in regards to trying to make sure like that you don't discover who you are. But I'm here to tell you, you will motherfucking discover who you are, okay? I'm going to speak that over your life. You will discover who you are. I say all that to say, I'm not saying that for the world. I'm saying that only for the divine masculines, okay? And I say all that to say because there's a scripture in John 17:9, and it says, I pray for them. God is talking about he's praying for, well, Jesus was saying he was praying for them, but he said he was praying for God's people, okay? Not the world. He said, I pray for them, not the world. I'm not praying for the world. I'm praying for those divine masculines to raise the fuck up, to do what it is that they need to do, to stand in the position that they need to stand in, because right now somebody else has had your birthright in their hands, and it's time for you to reclaim it back. And if they think as long as that they keep, in a sense, it's almost like they don't want you to discover who you are, okay? But this is why it's important for, if you feeling a little insecure about whatever you may feel insecure about, face yourself. Face yourself. What could happen? What could possibly happen if you're feeling a little insecure, okay? We all may have some insecurities, but you know what? Step out on faith and just face your insecurities, okay? Whatever they may be. Speak up if you need to speak up. You know, if you need to tell somebody no, tell them no. If you need to tell somebody I love you, tell them I love you if God is asking you to do that. My God, how hard is it? It's not that hard. You can be your own worst enemy. And sometimes they know that, and they will project that and use that against you in a sense in order to get you to do what it is that they want you to do. So don't let anybody any longer does not have any power, nor any authority, nor any control, nor any chains are no longer holding you. There's no more excuses from this day going forward, okay? No more excuses from this day going forward. I tell you to motherfucking rise up. Rise up and reclaim back what belongs to you. I'm not praying that for the world. I am only praying that for the divine masculines, okay? The divine feminines to reclaim back who the fuck they are, okay? Period. okay? Because I done seen people's birthright be in the wrong people's hands for way too long, and I am so sick and tired of seeing it. I'm so sick and tired of seeing it. I am so sick and tired of seeing it, okay? So this is the world that I wish to see. There is no more projecting, because now, and I just saw 444, so you guys can look that up as well too, okay? But I say all that to say that no more of people bounding you, holding you down, and no more of people trying to puppeteer you, no more people trying to manipulate you, no more people trying to take what belongs to you. You stand up and claim back what belongs to you, whether you are a divine feminine or you are a divine masculine, okay? Because I said this before, there are two promises out there, and I say all that to say, you have the Sarah seed, you have Hagar seed, and sometimes Hagar's seed was just about being a father of many nations, and sometimes that's just a situation that these people don't want you to remember who you are, which is Sarah's seed, because they want to continue to try to operate off what God had initially gave you, which was the inherited promise, okay? So I say all that to say, and then yesterday I heard Phoenix rising from the ashes, okay? So I don't know what that means, or if it's pertaining to, any of you masculines rising up in the sense of reclaiming what belongs to you. But then yesterday I also heard, so 2 days ago I heard the Phoenix rising out of the ashes, okay? And then yesterday I heard the song Twice, which is the song by Celine Dion. What is it? Let beauty rise out of ashes. Okay, don't listen to my singing, but I say all that to say, go Google it. Let it speak to you, okay? If it speaks to you, that means it was meant for you. If it doesn't, then that means it's not meant for you at this point in time. So for those of you who do not know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it for what it is, because this is something that I've been holding in for a while. And as long as I'm standing up and doing what it is I need to do, that my bloodline is also being protected, because I'm stepping into what rightfully belongs to me. So I, Sonia B, am a great descendant, okay? I'm a great direct descendant of Jesus Christ lineage bloodline. For those of you who do not know, I am Sonia B, and again, I am a direct great descendant of Jesus Christ's bloodline, okay? So I say all that to say, I know that can be a hard pill for people to swallow, because some people think, oh, well, Jesus wouldn't be responding like this. Jesus, would do what he had to do, okay? So I say all that to say that I am here rectifying what was done to my ancestors by them putting him on the fucking cross. And I say fuck you to each and every one of you who did have some parts in what was nailing him to the cross, okay? And I say all that to say that I'm here to tell you, I'll say it again, fuck you, and fuck you. Those days are no longer here, okay? I'm here to rectify my motherfucking bloodline, okay? I'm here to rectify what Jesus, even though God told him that was his path, I'm here to have him to smile down on me. Because what you did not know was Jesus came to me and basically told me one day in a dream, he was like, okay, I need you to, and I was like, okay, what does that mean? And then I just got the message of lead the people to heaven, okay? And that's why I say some of y'all can get so confused by looking at people who have these large followings. I don't have a large following. But again, usually when somebody is saying something that people don't want to hear, they may not have a large following or whatever the case may be. Because why? God said, if those who have ears, let them hear. So some people may not want to hear that message because they're comfortable with sitting where they're sitting at, okay? And maybe to them, I don't fit that description of somebody who would be coming along of, I don't dress like a pastor. I don't dress like a pastor's wife. I don't dress like this. And all that is just based off, again, religious. You think about the Pope, you think about the Vatican and all of them in a sense. I disclaim every last one of them, because this information that was revealed to me, I didn't have to beg the Vatican to release information from their vaults about Black people of our history, because they intentionally left that information in there to lock it up, to seal it up, so that you wouldn't remember who you were, because they wanted to steal what rightfully belonged to you. But I'm here to tell you, I didn't need to beg them. Yeah, I did say that, they have Black people's information stored up, but this is information that God revealed to me. This is not something that I needed to go to ancestor.com. I didn't need to give them my blood. I didn't need to give them my saliva. I didn't need to have access to my DNA. This is information that God released to me, okay? And I say all that to say, with me being a great direct descendant of Jesus Christ's bloodline, I say all that to say that all these worldly ways of doing things out here, this is just a classic example of you take it straight to God and God will reveal exactly to you who you are. And I do want to say this for each and every one of those people out there who tried to make black people feel bad because they didn't know who they were. I say shame on you, and shame on you. Don't worry, karma's coming for you as well too, because there's something about when God gives people the opportunity to sit here and to do better, to want to do better, but to just let you know what people's heart is. And again, that's why I said that I didn't come to pray for the world. I only came to pray. I came to pray for them, in a sense, excuse me. So that was just basically Jesus saying that he was only there to pray for God's people. That's it. And that's where some of you guys got to get it out of your head, because you're so busy using logic of, oh, I got to be a humanitarian. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. That's what the world wants you to do, in a sense. They want to use you. They want to puppeteer you. Go listen to that song, Paramount, or whatever the case may be, with talks. Oh, shit. What was the name of the song? What was the song? Bear with me. Go listen to the Paramount song. She was just talking about they was doing nothing but feeding off your energy, or whatever the case may be. And I say all that to say that a lot of you guys need to remember that, because I know sometimes, especially those who are like historians or whatever the case may be, that they're so used to doing things a certain way, and that when things are being done differently, it makes it hard for them to get out of certain energies. But I say all that to say that's where you're going to have to learn how to do things differently, because a lot of you a lot of you can find yourself caught up in situations because you're so used to doing things the old way. Oh, that's what it was. It says Paramount song. Ain't it fun? Okay. Go listen to that song. Go listen to the Dion song. And if you guys need to listen to that Tasha Cobb song as well too, No More Chains Holding Me, listen to that as well too. But anyway, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that here. I'm not going to pull any cards on this message, because as I said what I needed to say, and let that digest, within your systems, okay?